My newly created job title is Information Projects Manager, and I work for the University Emergency Medicine Foundation in Providence, Rhode Island. And it's a foundation of emergency room providers, so doctors and mid-levels and residents who staff the emergency departments at lifespan hospitals. For a number of years, I've worked in for-profit companies. So whether for publishing, and for a number of years I worked at a pharmaceutical company in Connecticut, Pfizer, if people are familiar with it. In their information management team, there was a large number of professionals, both librarians and scientists, who would work with information, do the searches for the scientist, and do regular what we call library work. So that was collection development, we were getting the electronic resources, the print resources, setting up physical libraries, etc. And then due to mergers and acquisitions within the company, they slowly started closing the physical libraries, but also closing sites, laying people off. And with a big company that hadn't laid off before, that was a little terrifying. So there was a number of layoffs over the years. I had been laid off before from a .com company. And eventually, after 5 years of layoffs, it hit our team, and I was one of the people that was laid off. And I had to look at my skills, and I had to say, what do I do next? Can I stay in the library field? Can I stay in the information field? Because I live in Southern Rhode Island. There's few jobs, but because my spouse is working in Rhode Island, we can't move. So I had to look at my skill set and say, where else could I work? Could I take a little bit of a turn and work in a different part of the information industry? How do I do this? So it was, luckily there was an outplacement firm that Pfizer used, and I sat down and I wrote down what my skills were. And that's, I think, a really good project for somebody to do, to name their skills. What are they? We know what we do. What are the terms? What are the terms that we use in the library world? But then what would the business world call that thing? And I just mentioned collection development, which we all know what that is. That's to find the resources, to see which resources is the best thing for your company, look at the pricing of it, how much is it used, what should I buy within the budget. If you look in the business world, that could be inventory control. That could be if you're running a business, you have inventory. What do I need to keep? What are people buying? What are they not buying? What are they looking at? What are those skills? Well, I need to be able to evaluate what that resource is, or what that item is, what that software is. I need to be able to say, is it better or worse than something else? I have to use analysis. I have to use statistics. Is it being used? Is it not being used? I have to train on it. How many people can use it? So you go through all of these steps and you write down the different skills. And then you say, can other companies use these skills? Because if you say you're a librarian, people's eyes sort of glaze and they think a public library, which is great, but then they don't know how it can fit into their company. So I did a lot of what we call informational interviews. And I have found, I started this when I was an undergrad. I was told to do this from a speaker who came in to talk about how to find a job. And he said, go with your inner circle of people, your friends, friends of friends, colleagues, and ask them for 30 minutes of their time. You're not asking for a job. You're asking for their time. You're saying you're looking for a job, you want to find out more about the industry and about what they do. I have not had anybody turn me down for 30 minutes of their time because I'm not asking for a job. When I go in and I speak to them, I show them my resume and we talk about my skills. I go in with a set of questions. I usually have about 10 to 12 questions that I'm asking them. I'm interviewing them, but I'm doing a reference interview on them. I'm asking them what they do, what they look for in an employee, what they look for in skill sets, what they think is the most important skill for a person coming into their company needs, regardless of what their undergrad and what their previous job was. So that was news to me. So as I did more and more of these interviews, I could refine my questions. I could explain a little bit better how I could bring these skills to the company and be of a benefit to the company.